Hi, YouTube. How are you doing? I'm doing great. I got most of my stuff done for today and exercises and uh, just love it. When a plan comes together. Speaking of plans coming together, a lot of you know that I decoded the Masonic Blue Book. In correlation, they use the New Testament, specifically the King James and an older Webster dictionary and Strong's Concordance. When you have those tools, the code that is in the Webster dictionary correlates with the one in the King James, and you can get the true meaning of those scriptures from that. And I watched my dad do it when I was a kid, um, and that's how I learned to do it. So that's why I know when somebody is trying to keep truth from people, when they're going along with agenda driven information to stifle the truth from people. I mean, the truth is hideous. Don't get me wrong. It's not something that I want, oh, I'm telling you this because it's something pleasant. The truth is hideous of what was going on in ancient times when these texts were forged to deceive people, and anybody going along with that deception, especially if it's an older person that has been doing their scholarly work or the dark cabal influenced work, I recognize you. I don't need to go, ladies, I don't need to go over to your page to hear what you're saying about somebody that's trying to get the truth out to people. And I know what happened to you over there. Yes, I do. And I also know why. I'm not debating that nothing bad happened to you. I'm sure it did. Try and cross me one time and see what it sounds like. It's probably not going to sound very pretty. And if you're a man coming against me, I might use some derogatory words according to your gender concerning that. So, nice try, but it's just not going to work because I know way too much to fall into the um, people's not knowing what they're talking about or agenda driven stuff. So, I just want to make that really clear. I'm not going to waste my time on things that I know better. You see what I'm saying? So I don't need to talk to somebody to hear what their grievances are about somebody. Yeah, I care about that. I do care about that. I'm just telling you that has no bearing on what I do out here and what I'm trying to do and the other people that are doing that. It has no bearing on it whatsoever. Squabbles here and there, this, that. I've got, hey, you want to talk about slander? Go look up Barb Weist and clay figures and songs about me and different shit that's out there long time ago. Whole communities coming against me to try and stop what I'm doing out here and try to stop me from connecting with the people that are going to be um, hopefully rewriting text for younger people with the correct information in there about history and science and migration, language. Language is a big one. And I highly doubt that very many people's language skills are equivalent to mine. So I don't need to go and learn from somebody that didn't put due diligence towards my efforts. They're on the other side of the fence, so to speak. So Like I say, I care about your feelings and I know what happened to you, but you're the one that fell into that trap. What is that? The best laid plans by mice and men? They're doomed to fail. I just wanted to make that clear. I care about you. I care about what happened to you. I don't care why it happened to you, because if you didn't put it in the hands of God, you deserved it. And that's why you got it like that, because you didn't know where to take your energies. You misplaced them. So, anyway. Oh, and I also got a letter off to my grandkids and their mom and Christmas stuff. So, yeah, I'm happy. Got a lot accomplished today. Got a lot accomplished in my life. A lot of information. If some of you don't know, I've been into microbiology for a very long time, you know, investigating the difference between just a plain fluke and cystosomiasis and blah blah blah. Yeah, and I wrote articles over on morgellons.org. So, the bugs that are controlling you are controlled by the dark force because you don't realize that you probably need a major detox, you know, really. And you can be controlled by these organisms inside you. There's three major components. Each component has three separate gestation periods, and they each have components. Like one has like an ectoskeleton, but it's gestating inside every 28 days and blah blah blah, that type of thing. Those are the type of things I know as a scientist. So I'm just saying what you're doing and what I'm doing is not the same thing at all. Not at all. What you're doing, I used to do when I was a kid, you know, reading my tarot cards and whatever. So, what do you want me to say? I've been at this for decades, 5 of them, you know. It's not something new. It's not something that I need other people to do with me. These are things that I got on the internet and started talking to other people that were affiliated in these organizations to have them get information out to other people so they could know the truth about things. And there's no way you're going to stop that. In fact, trying to stop it is like stepping on your own head. It's going to hurt, ladies and gentlemen, if it doesn't already. So, and see, here's the thing. When you're dealing with people that can look inside your soul and know you, what you're going to do, what you did do, and what you are doing, how do you get beyond that besides honesty? I mean, you can have a whole group of people helping you push unjust ways and disinformation. And if you're not aware of that, you are now, and you need to stop for your own sake and for other people that you might be harming along the way. Because this is deeper than what you think. So I just wanted to touch a little more on that. I thought, well, I can go over there. I can listen to people. I've already heard enough, you know, seriously so. But if you're going to come up against people that have been doing this their entire life and they're not agenda driven, you're coming against somebody you don't want to do. You don't want to do that. So, and then I heard people talking about like somebody would have a grievance against the church because they were abused by their church. Like it's a bad thing that we're out here telling other people about that, and it's more widespread than what you understand. That's a bad thing. When in all your pedophilic bullshit life did that become a bad thing to warn people about what's going on in these organizations? And you call people like me a part of a cult or that our minds are small? Go sit down and excuse yourself for real. And I'll excuse you too if you wake up. And what some of us have been through to even give you a chance to wake up is compassion, because you're going along with a dark force that is destroying people from the day they are born into their old age. And you think I'm not going to fight against that? Or you, if you get in my way? Could think, well, I don't have a real name out here and blah, blah, blah. You think that matters either? Your energy, when you type, when you speak, it's all there for the world. Everything you think, say, and do is recorded. That's a trip, isn't it? Here's another thing. I started studying psychology and psychiatry when I was really little. The reason is because they had books in my house, libraries, atlases, world books, all of it, you know, encyclopedias, you know, all of it. And I read the entire Bible before I was a teenager, the entire thing, not bits and pieces, word for word. And then 6 times after that. Not that it would matter. And that's just the entire thing, to have a deeper understanding of people's deceiving ways and the actual message within that, there was something more I was going to say about that, but and then I was trained by the state as a paraprofessional working with handicapped children. So my knowledge of the human mind isn't, and another uh, training from the state for a counselor. Um, Regardless of that, don't you think it would be a little silly to try and outthink somebody that thinks for other people? I just don't think about myself. This is about everybody that deserves it, you know? But yeah, and then some of my best friends are professors of psychiatry and doctors, and you know, let's just put it this way: I have an army of professionals that are just waiting when I need something and I need a valuable piece of information with their doctrine behind that. I'll get it. All I have to do is think it and it'll be there. That's the communication between me and these people like that. I'm just warning you. You don't understand what you're going up against. For the sake of what? What are you going to gain by helping somebody that would help destroy children? I'll tell you what you're going to gain. Some people do it for money. Some people do it for organizations that have nefarious reasons. What's your reason? Is it love? What's love got to do with it, right? Everything. So if you really don't know what you're getting into and what it all entails, including and mostly exclusively the science behind it, you're not even in that league. What do you want me to say? It's like if you grew up cooking and your car breaks down. Well, you can bake a loaf of bread. Can you fix your car? You know, what do you know? Watch out for those ones that can do both. you know, there's a lot of people with genius level minds that the average person is coming up against. And they have groups, but it's not going to help you. You will end up looking foolish and feel way worse than you do now, and you're definitely on the wrong side of what history will be. If you think there's any credence to the book of Revelation, I'm telling you it's a playbook. I think most of us know that. Not that it hasn't been played over and over, it has. If you have an innocent heart in many ways and you don't understand how even asking a question that you think is a biblical question and it isn't even a part of the equation and you're insulting a scholar that knows better, you're probably going to have a harsh reaction. I've had that and I don't take kindly to it. I said, there's clay figures out there of me with my horse dying and um, my dog and me with no clothes on and another one that's putting down Doug and another so-called friend at the time and little signs, I mean elaborate clay figures. This dude or whoever, because there's no name on the shit, made like something like 1,100 videos of clay figures and other people writing songs, couple people writing songs about me and how horrible I am. You know why? Because I wouldn't join in their slut fest. Oh, yeah, it matters. I've ran across this before. I understand. especially when you're on the receiving end of somebody's ejaculate, metaphorically. So this isn't my first rodeo. Speaking of rodeos, I did that in my life. That's only like I tell people, like if you ride a bull, that's kind of silly, but rodeos were meant for showing ranchers your skills so they'd hire you. I did bulldogging, team roping, and bareback because I break horses. That was fun. And I got a really good job too doing that. Then you can do it out for the rancher that you work for, instead of for show. But yeah, a lot of people don't realize what the purpose of a rodeo was. It wasn't just for fun, it was actually just to show people your skills, you know? Mm, the good old days. Would I ride bareback now? I might, depending on the horse. Maybe, maybe not. It just depends. Might depend on how I'm feeling that day. I don't mean going for a bareback ride without a saddle. I'm talking not even a green broke horse, but just fresh, right out of the stall, you know. Or like I've been known to do, just walk up to a wild horse and talk it into letting me sit on him. I've done that twice. That was fun. I didn't know what was going to happen, if I was going to die, or I was ready to jump if I had to. Doesn't mean you're going to clear the hoofs if you jump, but I didn't have to. I guess my point with that really was pointless, but it does attest to my nature. And, you know, when you rope something that's 1,200 pounds or more, and you're on the other side of that string, well, not having confidence probably wouldn't be a good thing. You better know what you're doing. That's sort of what people do. They don't understand the strength that they come up against until it's too late. That's never going to change in me. Started riding when I was 4. Horses. I rode one of my calves once. He was about 18 months old, a big Holstein. So yeah, I've ridden. He wasn't a bull. He was castrated. He was a steer. So anyway, Willie. He tried to ride me once too. I was bent over, taking care of one of my girl calves had cut her leg open on the barbed wire. The neighbors had wanted us to put the calves over on their land to eat down some of the tall grasses and all that. So I did. And my one Bessie, I have Bessie, Wilma, and Willie. And Bessie tried to come back through the fence and ended up cutting her hock open just like that. And I took her. Well, first I put some dressing, this stuff called Blue Coat, and then I took her in my barn and put some bedding down for her, and so I could tend it, for about a week, and so she'd heal quicker. Because if she was out in the dirt, it would just keep getting dirty, and she might not have healed. So Yeah, but anyway, I was bent over trying to take care of Bessie, and Willie jumped on me. He was about 1,100 pounds then. That's, a ton of shit. Wow, that hurt. It did. It smashed me. He didn't do anything else except for that, but that was enough. Wow. I didn't think it was going to happen. So, anyway, such is life. I mean, I was only 15. I was kind of stupid. you know, not really stupid, but just kind of, you know. Yeah, not a whole heck of a lot more going on around here today. Just it's a happy day. It's kind of gloomy. We're going into winter, and I always have to watch myself. I don't want to get the like light deprivation disease. What do they call it? SAD or um solar something deficiency. Some of you might know. Oh, thinking of that, I for the longest time was trying to think of this song that had Little Bitch and something about can't be wrong, and I found it. The Spin Doctors, Little Miss. Finally, like I had just played it a few years ago, and then for the life of me, I couldn't find it until this morning. I had the right words, typed it in. There it was. It was like the version that I shared did have one word wrong in their lyrics, but it was pretty close. A lot of times I'll send the lyrics through for Doug because he's hard of hearing, and so some things, if they're like repetitive beat, he's tone deaf. He can't hear the words in there, so I give him the lyrics. So little bitch can't be wrong, or little miss rather, but it's got the word bitch in there too. So anyway, sometimes when I'm irritated with people, I try to find that song and play it for them, or play it for myself. I feel better. Excuse me. So anyway, back on the note that I won't be um, battling wits with anybody that thinks they know the scriptures when they're all orchestrated by the Masons, and I was taught to know better. And after I got busted decoding the Blue Book, they took me into the Blue Lodge, which is the lodge with all the information, and I started reading white papers that are concerning Project Bluebeam and microorganisms and scriptures and myth and lore and things and how they connect in history and language, and the Greek exclusively for the deception, to prove the deception. And once again, I've told people, I've made a video. This is just not me saying about the timeline and when the Dark Cabal Khazarian Jews started writing in medieval times with the King James, and that deception and hiding stuff away from people. But, oh, let me see. What was I? Just a second. It's just important for people to understand that what they're reading is not, it's all made up. It's all made up. Of course, I mean, yeah, okay, there's texts that aren't made up that people actually wrote. I'm just telling you the version of what you're reading isn't anything close to what the facts are or the truth. It's just a book for churches and pastors and priests to use as a guideline to keep people under control. Then they started, that's where I was going. Then they started changing the dictionaries and hiding that information. That's why it's important to have an older dictionary. So, I mean, it's like when you have a newer version of something like this, um, the definitions have been changed. Up to date definitions. You know what that means? That means that my book from 1921, that is this thick, it's twice as thick as this. This is large print. My other one is small print. There's a vast difference in that, vastly. And I can prove it, and I proved it where the language started changing. The Hebrew language was added vowels to and taken away to take words and coin terms. That's to make a term in a word that was not there. If I coin something, this is something of my own that I inserted instead of, and that's on Wikipedia, that's in Britannica, you'll find this definition and the truth. I've got a video about the Hebrew language and when it started changing to use with the King James in 1200 AD to deceive you today. And the people that you are following that are pushing this Hebrew language are liars, and I'll be calling you a liar too pretty soon. I have a video about the Hebrew language. I read it to you out of the text, and actually even in, I think it was the Washington Post had how Britannica was changing language. There was a few areas that I read to people, not just one source. It's the same with Jason from Archaics. He's got a whole list of sources that prove these changes in scriptures and timelines and languages and the calendar changes. Don't you understand? What part don't people understand that calendars were changed to deceive you? And languages were changed to deceive you. Isn't that a big deal? Where is your integrity? Where's your truth? I don't need to go to somebody's page to understand why they're salty because they didn't get to capture energies that they want to keep confined on this planet, and it's backfiring on them. So I'm going to let it go there. There's proof out there. If you want to go along with these little drippy little out there that can't control their urges, I'm sorry for you. But you don't have to be one of them. And you don't have to get salty when somebody's not going to go along with your game and you don't understand the depth of the anger from people like me that are sick of being abused by people like that. If you want to be a people like that, then you're making yourself in a very bad position. And I'll just leave it right there. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Have a good night or day wherever you're at.